Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to episode 83 of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, Executive Editor of Total Retail. Today I'm joined by Peter Weedfald, Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing at Sharp Home Appliances, SEMCA, the U.S. Consumer Electronics Sales and Marketing arm of Sharp Corporation. We're going to be discussing the evolving nature of brick-and-mortar retail, and in particular how that impacts a brand marketer such as Sharp Home Appliances. So thanks for joining me, Peter.
It's my pleasure, Joe. It's wonderful to be in the digital era with you today.
Yes, great to have you. So let's start by just having you tell us a little bit about your background in retail, and then kind of bring that conversation into present day in your current role at Sharp.
Sure. I've been in retail for quite some time. I worked as EVP for ViewSonic Corporation for several years. I also was, for about 7 years, Senior Vice President of Sales, Marketing, Operations for Samsung Electronics. For about 2+ years, I was the Chief Marketing Officer and Section 16 Officer of the now defunct Circuit City. But for the record, I left a year before it went down. And I am currently Senior Vice President, as we said earlier, for brand and all of sales for our Sharp Appliances business. So
kind of that background in retail. So you obviously have some experience in the industry. So I'm interested in your opinion then on, your thoughts on how the industry has evolved in recent years. And, we've particularly seen the growth of digital and e-commerce and mobile being part of that. What are your thoughts on sort of retail and the way it's evolved in recent years?
Well, I think the race, most retailers are looking at and following one very, very large company with a very large stock portfolio today. Because they realize that we've actually entered what I call the post-digital era. And in the post-digital era, it's kind of like when the Industrial Revolution took place. People didn't realize they were in the Industrial Revolution, but you had a company that was making gloves by hand and producing 10 a month. And when the Industrial Revolution came along, suddenly there were companies popping up everywhere producing basically the same quality glove, but producing 50 a day. And so for those that didn't move ahead with technology in that era, they now could look back and say, wow, the post-digital era, which is what we're in, has changed everything for every retailer across the board. The idea, though, is not to follow someone. The idea is to understand what your grassroots platform and construct is, store by store, brick by brick, and then utilizing what we call the post-digital era 5. So that means 1 is your social networking capability, 2 is your analytic capability, 3 is your mobile capabilities, 4 would be your cloud-based capabilities with reference to your brick stores, and then, of course, cyber networking that you can do in partnerships and to expand your brick stores on a global basis. So that is the core now for all retailers. But the conundrum, Joe, is that most retailers have taken the model and said, let's put our web-based hub somewhere up in a cloud, and let's not utilize our local stores as hubs and the local consumers in the community 1 to 5 miles away as the nodes. In essence, we've allowed, or retailers need to really think about the fact that their retail stores should own the community. They should own a 1 to 5 mile radius, even a block away, which is the original reason you spent so much time looking at DMAs, looking at household incomes, looking at competitors in a location, so that you could own the local community. But it feels like maybe retailers are really focused on the digital side and not as much as the power at the local store level.
Do you find that then that may explain why a lot of retailers, particularly with these vast nationwide network of stores, are really trying to push the omni-channel nature of their stores, that they're able to fulfill online orders from their stores, or or you can buy online and pick it up in your neighborhood store, and they get you in the store, that traffic into the store, potentially that a customer goes on to buy 5 other things while they're in the store. So you see, retailers like Target and Walmart and some of the bigger box that have a nationwide network of stores, pushing that omni-channel agenda from their stores. What are your thoughts around that?
Well, I think, omni-channel is a great word that the entire industry took hold of. But, I look back and I say, with intense sobriety, it's all about localization that causes globalization, not globalization of a website that's going to cause localization, meaning localization to help the local store. So by example, I mentioned to you social, analytics, mobile, cloud, and cyber. So in reality, if you were just a cyber player, a big cyber player, you can imagine who I'm talking about, and suddenly you had stores. My view is that your local brick store would own 1 block away, 2 blocks away, 5 blocks away, 10 blocks away, half mile, 2 mile, 5 mile, and no drone could come into your community and sell to a consumer. No website would be stronger than your human capital in that local brick and mortar store. And the social aspects, your analytical aspects, your mobile, your cloud, your cyber, everything would be designed for that local community. So you should own from 1 block to 10 blocks to 5 miles. And that's what I meant when I said the local brick store should be the hub, and the node are all the houses and all the businesses within a 5-mile radius. That's the origination of brick. And I think the danger of Omni is to think, well, yeah, we'll try to serve the whole world. But it's funny, my bank, I've been banking with a bank for 25 years. They don't know me. I don't have a stock account with them. I put my child through college. I didn't work with them. I purchased cars and had loans on them. I didn't do it through them. I've had mortgages not through them, because their local relationship, and they're 5 blocks away from me, is not strong. And that's what the secret, I believe, should be for Brick. They should own that community. They should know who the people are in the community. They should literally have CRM and SCRM locked and loaded in the community to build a thorough and valued relationship. And I think most brick retailers have given that up, or think they're doing it through this omnidirectional or omni-channel program.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking that digital leader that you're talking about probably is headquartered out in Seattle, and I think we all know that company, and and they're even now pushing into brick and mortar a little bit. So with that, what for you are the keys then? And you touched on it a little bit, but for making that traditional physical retail store able to compete in this new environment, is it all come down to the customer experience when you walk into that store and sort of getting that one-to-one relationship, whether it be with the sales associate or can you talk about competing as a physical retailer within this new digital environment?
Yeah, so if I was a retailer, and this is called investment banking. A retailer is an investment banker. You have SG&A, you have services, you have product, you have brick and mortar. So if I was a retailer as an investment banker, first thing I would do is I would hire a world-class digital guru for each of my stores. That person is someone who understands all the assets, all the programming, knows how to drive social networking, drive email marketing, drive the utilization of the CRM and SCRM database for everyone who's got some sort of a rewards card, for everyone who ever bought there before, and say to them, your job is to own this 5 to 7 mile radius, because we've invested a lot of money in this brick store, a lot of money in electricity, a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. And in the new world order of digital, we do that on a hub basis out in another state. But here, we're now going to build relationships with everybody in a 5 to 7 mile radius, socially, email, preferences, references. And when they walk in the store, you're going to treat them very, very special, because we're going to know everything about them. That's what's missing, in my humble opinion, for retailers today in brick. They've got to own the 0 to 5, but you got to invest. You got to hire someone who knows how to do that work.
So let's talk about, let's bring the conversation back then to Sharp Home Appliances. So obviously you're in the position where you're both selling through retail partners, correct? And then also selling direct to consumer, probably via the websites as well. So what about the the predicament of brand marketers, and how are they able to kind of prosper in this new retail environment that we're talking about?
Yeah, so so many things have changed, right? We no longer are just pushing advertising and marketing out there. The goal is to pull. How do you pull consumers to you? How do you pull retailers to want to do business with you? How do you pull opportunities to you that's adversely different than the old days when you just pushed? So, number one, from our perspective, Sharp Home Appliances, we created a brand mantle known as Simply Better Living. And you'll see that in everything we're doing in social networking and advertising and so on. And that means that our products will be simple to use, better than the competition, and it's all about living and a healthy lifestyle. But having said that, our goal is not to sell the cold steel of a consumer electronics product. Our goal is to sell the dream of enjoying popcorn, Orville Redenbacher popcorn, in a Sharp microwave oven while you're enjoying a movie or watching Super Bowl or playing football. And if you're going to sell the dream, then the consumer really cares about the food they're going to eat, the health that they're going to deliver. So we've focused our social networking, our brand position, every touch point with consumers that we have is basically built on selling the dream, but we've had to earn the right to do that. And I think the heritage of our Sharp product, our people, we've sold over 130 million microwave ovens since 1962. Our products really are unique. They're simply better, and they're very original products. We don't want to bring products that look and feel like everyone else's. But again, having said that, if you lead with the dream, if you lead with the customer benefit for your product line, you'll have a better propensity to break through the noise of your competitive threats.
Do you delineate with when you talk about that marketing, do you delineate does it matter to you whether they're going into one of your retail partners to buy a Sharp microwave, or they're coming directly to the Sharp website to make a purchase? How do you kind of set up those parameters when you go about devising a marketing strategy, whether it be for a new product or just in general as well?
Well, a couple of things. Number one is, the internet is Darwin on speed. It is the fastest unionization of push and pull on the planet. And literally every consumer in America is now a quarterback in the internet with their own Instagram, their own Pinterest, their ability to navigate and orchestrate, their ability to publish content. And by that I mean all the walls are very, very porous of every retailer and every website. Having said that, to answer your question directly, Joe, we at Sharp Appliances never want to look at a retailer, a channel partner, and have them ask us this question. Peter and Sharp Appliances, are you a competitor or are you a partner? So, Joe, for your knowledge and for your listeners' knowledge, we do not sell our products direct to consumers. We give the dignity of the power of our brand, our products, our marketing, everything is designed to drive our consumers to retail locations or dealer locations or distribution partner locations, and we're very proud of that. So we work on selling the dream and getting consumers fired up about what the art of the possible of our products and our brand is for them and their families, but we do not sell them direct. Our website is designed to serenade and deliver the value of the dream to consumers and to our channel partners.
With more and more manufacturers going direct, has that been an internal discussion at Sharp, whether that's the right is that an opportunity for you, or you feel like you've established this connection with consumers and your retail channel partners that you mentioned that you feel like you have a strong enough bond there where it's not something you would consider?
My belief is if you look through history and time, that consumers don't divide themselves by brands or prices or products as quickly as they divide themselves by choice. So let me give you an example. Ted Waite, who is a very good friend of mine for a long time, you may remember back there was a Gateway PC, and Ted decided to open up Gateway stores, and he opened up a series of Gateway country stores selling all Gateway products, Gateway printers, Gateway PCs, Gateway displays. And I was talking to him one day and I said, "You're not going to make it." And he said, "Why? How dare you say that to me?" I said, "Because consumers walk into your store and it's a gateway PC, a gateway PC, a gateway PC, a gateway PC with prices, and they're completely completely confused because they can't compare it to Dell, they can't compare it to IBM, they can't compare it to Lenovo, and you diffuse their ability to purchase and they walk away. So my humble opinion is consumers love choice. And we fight very well and do very well from a competitive standpoint when you line up our product disciplines against our competitors in a location. If we were trying to sell direct ourselves, consumers would come in and it'd be sharp, 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 sharp. And they'd go, in this new world order of the post-digital economy, they'd say, I'm going back on the internet and I'm going to look all over the place and look at every other brand and competitor, and now I lost them. So I would prefer to serenade them on our site and then say to them, by the way, choose your retailer. Here's your list. Here's your online list. Here's your physical brick list. Thank you so much for looking at Sharp. And then we drive the opportunity. And the retailers absolutely love us for not being a competitor, but being an organization that wants to make sure they're successful too.
And then my final question, Peter, is what are one or two of the trends it could be technologies as well, that you believe will have the biggest impact as we move here in the beginning of 2017 for the retail industry?
Well, number one, I really think that from the beginning part of the conversation that retailers really need to think about abandoning the idea of digital as a separate business or a separate organization. You know, we talk about omni and we talk about being multimodal with consumers, but the fact of the matter and the reality is you have these brick locations and you're losing sales to companies in the cloud. You're losing sales to company in the cloud for your own website and for your brick site. So again, I say that one of the things that I've talked to some retailers about is they're beginning to understand that they do have these physical locations and they do need to figure out how to deliver on social, analytics, mobile, cloud, and cyber opportunities in the local market. So the point there is I don't think you need a digital strategy. I think you need a retail business strategy and not discount your human capital. Human capital, in my humble opinion, Joe, should never lose against a digital machine. It is today dramatically, but it is almost insulting to humans that a store associate can lose to the cloud, to a machine in the cloud. So we need to correct that and fix it. And then the second thing that I think is very, very important is that the retailers need to drive personalization, whether you're doing it through your digital platform or in a store. Again, I mentioned I've had a bank for many, many years. They don't know who I am. They don't know who my family is. They know nothing about me other than the fact that I go in and deposit money and cash checks. In a world where CRM has been playing in the marketplace for 25 years, and SCRM, which is social CRM, and yet the personalization at a brick store just doesn't, I don't feel it. I don't know if you feel it, Joe. And by the way, CRM does not stand for customer relationship management. In the language of what we're talking about, it stands for consumers really matter. And if consumers really matter, in a 5-mile radius of your brick store, it's time to break out the social networking, break out the local analytics, break out mobile conversations locally, including your e-coupons and programming and promotions, break out the cloud and cyber, and speed up your ability to service them in this multi-way. One last data point on speed and brick. I'm completely confused, Joe. I pick up the phone, or I do this online, and I get a hold of my local pizza shop, and within 15 minutes, I have a delicious pizza cooked exactly the way I like it, with a salad, with some sides, in 15 minutes, and it's hot. Why brick retailers couldn't say to themselves, we're going to build local webs, meaning local delivery service within a 5-mile radius. You can call us up, or you can go online, and we guarantee we'll have it delivered within 1 hour to your home. I don't know what is stopping any local brick store where management is charged with revenues and profits against their SG&A, driving that service immediately to overshadow what you're doing and buying from the cloud 2, 3, 4, 5,000 miles away. There are so many touch points of a brick retailer And we're so enamored with digital and websites, we're forgetting the basic tenets of victories and fighting and gaining attention, interest, conviction, desire, and boomerang closing in the local market.
Yeah, some really interesting insights there. I really like that idea of, sort of that localized marketing delivery, and something that comes to my mind is just, and we're starting to see this with, ride services like Uber and Lyft starting to be getting into the delivery business as well. So I think that there might be more to come on that.
Yeah, so I think that, with this post-digital market we're in, it really demands the harvesting of magnetic disruption with boomerang returns. And, the whole goal in retail is to fill the basket and get the basket stronger and better. And really the problem for retailers today, many retailers, is they're losing store traffic so quickly that their SG&As are exploding and heating up. I can name them. I mean, I'll name some: Macy's and Kohl's and Sears, and it goes on. And I keep looking at it going, but you don't have a relationship with your local community, and you have all the digital tools in this post-digital economy to do it, and use localization to build globalization. But basically, a lot of retailers are building globalization, meaning they have a website somewhere, and they think that that's how they're going to fight and compete. But you can't make and take a market from the cloud as well as you can with a brick store with a 5-mile radius with human capital. Period. End of discussion, in my humble opinion.
Well, some great thoughts there. So we're just about out of time. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Peter Weedfald of Sharp Home Appliances, Semca, for his time today and joining me. Please check out our podcast channel page, mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, but make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. Lastly, please follow us on Twitter at MyTotalRetail. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/MyTotalRetail. Thanks, and I look forward to you joining us in the next episode of Total Retail Talks.